Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So I apologize about the lack of uploads lately. I've been fairly busy. So the main things that have been going on is just Winter Storm Maya. It's been one heck of a storm, and it dropped way more ice than expected here in the Chicago area. It dropped a little bit more snow than expected in Wisconsin, some areas over 18, 19 inches. The Northeast got quite a bit, including Boston, Connecticut, Rhode Island. I would say 3 to 4 inches was the main amount over there. But upstate, Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, those states make see well over 18 inches. So that's still not yet done. But this today's video is a long range outlook, and uh, going back a little bit, if you'd like to support this channel, you could do so by subscribing, and I have a Patreon that will be linked in the description box below. So if you want to support me on that platform, you just sign up, and you can consider doing that. So thank you for that. At this point, the pattern seems fairly calm after this storm, at least for the eastern half of the country. The west will get hit by another system. I think this one's called Winter Storm Nia, and again, these are alphabetical, so the N comes after the M, which was Maya. Now it's Nia, and we could be looking at some heavy snow again for at Montana, Idaho, Washington, Northern California, and the Sierra Nevada will get absolutely slammed again, potentially up to 80 inches in the next 10 days. That's what the European model is showing. So very, very good amounts of snow. And then that system earlier on, I remember in the week I was advertising, or I should say the models were advertising. I was still skeptical about it, but we don't really see situations where a huge storm, I mean massive storm, is first shown across the United States from this system, and then it later basically evolves into nothing, and the models realize that this storm will not form really into anything substantial, and that's what happened this time around. You could see maybe a few showers, some snow showers across Michigan. It does strengthen, but only later on once it reaches into Newfoundland and Labrador and Nova Scotia provinces, and obviously a little bit back here in Quebec and Ontario. But that storm will most likely won't be too impactful. But we see another. I mean, well, yeah, we see another system. You can see right there impacting California, Nevada, and look at that. Sierra's just absolutely getting pounded by this. And this one may be a little bit more impactful. You could see, first of all, you could have a little bit of ice snow in the south, but then this goes this system organizes itself as it ejects out from the Rockies. It could produce a wide band of snow across the plains. Doesn't seem like a significant winter storm, but more impactful than that first little system, which could only bring a little bit snow showers. This one could have two waves, one across Virginia and the more southern states, and this one across Iowa, Illinois, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Indiana, Ohio, and into the northeast. That could still change, though. This could become a bigger system, so that's still not set in stone, especially since this is very far out. But again, this is a long range outlook, so we are looking very far out. And we see another system potentially starting to organize, maybe moving up the East Coast as a system of concern to watch. At this point, this model is not showing much, but the European model is actually showing quite a bit of snow for the Northeast. I'm not sure if it's with this system. I didn't analyze it too much. I just quickly looked at the snowfall totals today. And then we just get really cold conditions for the western two-thirds of the country. I'll show you the graphs in just a minute, but very chilly conditions for the western two-thirds. We could be looking at another system. The northeast seems to be getting more on the snowy side now in the long-range outlook, but still very cold, I would say, for the western two-thirds. That's probably the main focus of this long range outlook. If we go to the 6 to 10 day outlook, which extends from the 18th through the 22nd of 2019, look at this. I mean, more than two-thirds, I would say, of this map is blue, and a huge chunk of the west, northwest, is 90% chance or being below or greater, or yeah, 90% chance of being below or greater. And then we just have a little bit of area of above average across Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and Alabama, and that's basically it. and we see the Northeast get in on this. We see the Midwest, we see the Northwest, we see the Southwest. That's why there's going to be so much snow in the lower elevations, because the temperatures are going to be so darn cold that the snow could actually start falling at lower elevations, and some locations may be picking up more snow than they have picked up in the last 5 years. So the 8 to 14 outlook, not different. This stands out from the 20th. Let's actually quickly go back. I wanted to show you the precip probability. Above average for the East, and you can see above average for generally the country. I want to say, maybe, I want to be so confident on this, but they're showing, I mean, they're not confident. They're showing 33. I would actually say below average for much of the country for the next couple of days. And even farther on, it doesn't look like it will be an active storm track for this part of the country. But if this actually does turn out to play out, and there's enough a precip with this cold air, that could be, again, a lot of snow for the West. And here we could be looking at several big systems, like I mentioned earlier, maybe looking for the Northeast a little bit more snowier than the past couple of events. Let's go to the 8 to 14 outlook, again, 20 through the 26th, and we see very similar, just maybe a little bit more warm air pushing in to the Northwest. So maybe now the whole state of Georgia, whole state of Alabama, whole state of North Carolina, most of North Carolina, some of Mississippi, some of Florida, or the whole state of Florida, and then the rest is still below average and still very high confidence for this. 8 to 14 outlook usually is not this confident, but look, they're 80% chance of it being colder or higher, or 80% chance or higher of being colder. Usually for 8 to 14 outlook, they say maybe 30, maybe 40. But again, they have great confidence for the 8 to 14 outlook as well for the southeast. And it's basically like, I mean, it's like a basically like an exact print of what the 6 to 10 day outlook look like. So I'm not sure. I'm not really buying this a below average right here in Northern California. I don't think so. That will be. I think it will be above average for the West, and I'm not too sure about this above average um in the West general, like Wyoming area, Montana, North Dakota. I'd rather say that the coastal West will see more above average precip. See, that's why the Climate Prediction Center isn't always the most accurate, because in terms of the precip probability, I wouldn't take that for I wouldn't take that with much seriousness. Let's go to the GEFS ensembles, because what I just showed you was a GFS. The FV3 GFS, let's ignore the GEFS for a second. Let's go to the FV3 GFS. This is a different version of the GFS. We could see Winter Storm Maya, that storm, very weak. Potentially another, again, look, the first phase right here across the southern states, or more southern states. And then, again, a second wave potentially. Maybe some snow in the more southern states again. Another system potentially. So there's some variation, but in general, a very active west, and a fairly rainy east, at least the southeast. But again, the main focus of this thing, or the main, I would say, takeaway from this is it will be darn cold for the western 2/3, northwestern 2/3, or I should say 3/4 of the country. And we will continue to see that, I think, into the rest of February, if not even more into March. But we just have to wait and see what the winter will bring in terms of in early spring or late starting spring. We will just have to see. It's a little bit too early to tell now, but there are some indices that we may be looking at an early winter based on the analog, early spring based on the analogs, but that's a little bit tough to see at this point, especially with all this cold. So you can see how the GEFS ensembles are showing the 2 meter air temperature just being below average for, again, much of the country other than the little part of the southeast, and below average. So that means more cold, and more cold with above average precip, which we saw here. That could mean more snow. So that's definitely the main of this whole video, that more cold and more snow on the way, and it's a very typical winter pattern. So not much relief in terms of looking at spring yet, but there are some hopeful signs that we could be starting to, I mean, if we look at some of that, let's go to the GFS quickly. If you look at that 2 meter temperature shaded, and that actually tells you the exact temperature, not the exact, but the predicted temperature that will be. We see, if we look through this, we see that the south is very warming up, and I'm not talking about the areas that are even above average. If we look at areas like Texas and Oklahoma area, we could be seeing several days where it's 70s, 80s, 60s. So this is basically telling you that now the south is starting to warm up, and soon this will start pushing more and more to the north with these storms that bring in the warm air, and then eventually the warm air will just be there constantly up to the north. And it's definitely a sign of spring when the south starts warming up. So if you live in Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, at this point, especially the southern sections, I wouldn't say you would see much snow. The northern sections, maybe a freak storm could still happen, but I would say Tennessee, North Carolina, maybe South Carolina, northern Arkansas, and Kentucky and Virginia could definitely still see snow, though. That's definitely not out of the question. But the southernmost southern states, like Alabama, Mississippi, and Georgia, or Louisiana, especially the southern parts, don't look too promising. So I apologize if I was a little bit tired in this video. It's pretty late at night, and this will be uploaded tomorrow in the morning. So thank you guys so much for watching. Consider subscribing, consider becoming a patron, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. See ya. Bye.